nobody on this road that can save your soul. Almost lost control now. Tell me what you need in a friend and now. Pray that we endure to the end again. I'm just saying that I'm here for you. When the world turn against you, I'ma be with you. Got my sword in my hand, you can count on me. I won't run and hide, fight mightily.
Waiting on Yahweh Shai. See the Jacob, I'm the apple of my father's eye. I learned the truth for who I was and it made me cry. If I don't keep the laws of Yah, then I'm gonna die. Living curses, but I'm edifying in my verses. Prepare the hearses for the heathens who be steady learning.
Khan. Shabbat Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, to the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. Greetings to the hopeful elect, those brothers and sisters and mighty children in this mighty sacred truth, enduring day in and day out through all of the trials and tribulations, all of the judgments of the Most High. Shalom, shalom. Those are in the sacred truth, reasoning and searching through the scriptures daily to see whether the things that are in there be true and be so. Shalom, shalom. To those moving through the spirit and power of the Holy Spirit. Shalom, shalom on this mighty Shabbat. This lesson through the Spirit is trying to bring out some exhorting precepts on battling and dealing with mental health, y'all. I mean, there's a lot of different type of things going on through our day-to-day lives, you know, and mental health is a very important thing. A lot of times we may go through certain trials, or we may go through certain situations that kind of have your mind foggy and your mind in a state of mind where your own mind and your own thoughts are afflicting you. And Salakia, y'all, says my connection is unstable. So bear with me. Lord willing, the connection isn't too choppy. But so we're going to get right into it through the Spirit. Not going to be too long. We're going to kick it right off with Jeremiah 17:9 with the classic Jeremiah 17:9, because, you know, it was a song. I think it was an Edomite, matter of fact, who had a song called Love is a Battlefield, right? Old school song called Love as a Battlefield. I believe it was by Pat Benatar. And the reason why I bring that up is because the mind is a battlefield. You know, when you think about war and the spiritual war that we in and these things that we go through, your mind is definitely one of your worst enemies. Because as it says in the precepts, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And who can know and say 100% of the time that they can control their mind? You know, you watch certain movies and things like Star Wars, as an example. They got the Jedi mind tricks and all different type of things where they're controlling their minds. Ain't nobody can control their mind 100% of the time. You know, your mind is always subject to go off. Your thoughts, because the mind is deceitfully wicked. Who can know it? So you may go through certain things that your mind, because of your thoughts, may overthrow your own judgment and may bring counsel against you. You know, you may be harping in on fears. You may be harping in on past experiences. You may be harping in on things that you perceive may be possible to happen that ain't even going to happen. You know, and those things may worry you, right? And through that worry, you may end up being stressed out and things of that nature, right? And you got to realize that in this truth, in order to battle mental health, you have to use the precepts, y'all. You got to meditate on these things daily, and through the precepts and through the Spirit, begin to build yourself up and to begin to take back that peace of mind, right? Let's get Colossians 1:21. Because peace of mind, when we was in this world, out in the world, you know, when you was doing wicked works, when you was out here living in folly and sin and things of that nature, you know, we gave our mind freely over to the things that weren't profitable to us. But now that you come into this truth, you got to be able to, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Abishai, take back that peace of mind, right? And utilizing the scriptures as as a pillar of rest. As you know, the precepts say that a wife is a pillar of rest to a husband. These scriptures are a pillar of rest to us as well, right? Colossians 1 and 21 says, and you that were sometimes alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled. Now that we come into this truth, that doesn't mean that you're not going to go through things, but you have to begin to reconcile your thoughts back to harmonize with what the precepts teach. And that's the only way you're going to get peace. You know, there's a big mental health push going on right now in society. You got mental health clinics, you got wellness clinics, you got mental health companies and things of that nature. But the true way to achieve mental health is by reading the precepts and by, you know, by really believing what's written there in the precepts, right? Because when you think about health, we always normally think about health as only like a physical thing. Like, okay, I might have a cold sore, right? Or I might have a damn affliction in my body, or I might have the flu, or somebody might have a cancer, or these different physical ailments. But what about the mental health? And the mental health is all a spiritual thing, family. It's all spiritual, right? It's a spiritual battle that we're going through. Let's get the book of Sirach, chapter 30, because the scriptures tell and they teach us about different ways and different things that have to do with health. And let me get it down here. All right. The book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 15, it says, health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth, right? There's no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. And we know the heart is the mind. And oftentimes when you fighting off depression and things of that nature, it has your countenance low. It has your mind fuzzy. You know, you may be continually worrying about things. You may be continually worrying about your job. You may continue to be worrying about finances. You may continue to be worrying about your health. You may continue to be worrying about certain situations that you may be in. These things afflict you. And when they're afflicting you, it's really Satan playing with your mind and trying to overthrow you in the counsel of your own thoughts. And that's why I said the mind is a battlefield. And you don't want to be caught out here in a scenario where now you're stressing out and you're losing faith. Ultimately, you're losing faith because when you go through stresses and things of that nature, you're giving your mind over to heaviness and you're giving your mind over to fears. And when you're giving your mind over to fears, that means that you're allowing fear to conquer you. You literally are not trusting in the things that the Most High God has said, because He said, what is the book of 2 Timothy, that He's not giving us a mind of fear. Let me get that real quick so I don't butcher it. 2 Timothy, I think the 2 Timothy 1 and 7. Bam. All right, the book of 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear. When you have that spirit of fear, and this isn't talking about godly fear where you fear in the Most High. All right, let's get that straight. This is talking about external fears and worries and things of the world, right? When you're fearing these various things that can befall you, and you're given that, in that spirit of fear is overcoming you and overtaking you, where now you're losing your faith. Now, once again, you worry. A lot of worry is tied to fear. And when you're worrying and you letting that worry overthrow you, now you're giving your mind over to heaviness. But look, but power of love and of a sound mind. Let's see if we can go into what that sound mind is. 1 second. Sound mind, self-control, of discipline, of self-control, of a sound mind. And when you have self-control, you're able to reason. You're not being self-control goes back to a spiritual thing. It goes back to discipline. And a big part of mental health is being able to discipline your mind enough through the spirit that you can even cast down those wicked imaginations and things when they come, those worries, right? To being able to have the discipline through the spirit, to have the faith to know, like, hey, I'm not going to worry about my health so much, in the sense that I'm just going to die because I might be going through a light affliction. Or I'm not going to worry about my health in the standpoint that now I'm losing faith. I can't sleep. I'm losing sleep. I'm thinking that, I'm just thinking the worst. Where is your faith at? Right? Where is your faith? And oftentimes we say, what the precepts say, hey, I'll show you my faith by my works, right? Faith and works go hand in hand. If you really believe and trust in the Most High, you should have the faith that the Most High can heal you, that the Most High can change whatever situation that you're going through that's bringing you stress, that the Most High can send you a spirit of uplifting to through the Holy Spirit, to be uplifted out of that state of depression, because depression has killed a lot of people. It's literally something called worrying yourself to death. It's people who worry themselves to death, and they giving their mind over to that heaviness. But when you see that sound mind goes into being able to have self-control, and you can have self-control through the spirit, right? Through building yourself up, through having a control over your mind by Shem Yahushai, to cast down wicked imaginations. Now those wicked, let's get to 2 Corinthians 10 and 5 through 7, matter of fact. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Bear with me. All right, bam. So back to that where we was just at in that 2 Timothy 1 and 7 of being able to have a sound mind. And when we went into that sound mind, it clearly went into being able to being able to have discipline. Discipline is a very, very important key thing in this truth. Because if you even think about like something on a carnal level, if you have an aspiration to be more fit in your body, as far as like fitness or working out, you have to be disciplined in order to keep a schedule, in order to keep consistent. And that repetition, right, in your discipline is going to enable you to build up endurance. It's going to enable you to build up strength. So how much more in this truth of being able to have the disciplined frame of mind to continue to build up your endurance, so that when you go through things, it becomes second nature, and you can control your thoughts through your spiritual awareness, right? And you can build up your spiritual awareness by reading the precepts and by reasoning and meditating on these precepts. So you're working out your mind through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because we know that these words that I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. So if you want to give yourself that life and that replenishment and the ability to cast down those wicked imaginations that cause stress, right? That lead to health ailments, and that lead to discomfort, and that lead to turmoil in your mind, and that leads to anxiety. You got to be able, Lord willing, to build yourself up through the precepts and to have these be your rest, right? So once again, the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 10, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh. So your thoughts from a mental health standpoint, because when you got to think about mental health is not a physical thing. And what I mean by that is, yes, your thoughts can manifest into physical actions. We get that because every action starts with some type of thought, right? But a lot of the time, stresses in the body, a lot of the time, stressful situations. You know, there's an earthly proverb that says, what I think it is, tough times don't last, tough people do. Really think about that. That's an earthly proverb. You know, people say in the world, tough times don't last, but tough people do. How do you make yourself a tough person? Biblically, you make yourself tough through building up your spirit. How do you build up your spirit? You build up your spirit by building up your understanding of the word of God. So therefore, when you have the understanding, you can use your understanding and your wisdom that you've obtained through the scriptures as comfort, as weapons. Doesn't say the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the spirit of casting down wicked imaginations and anything that will matter of fact, Salakia, let me I want to actually start a little bit earlier. Matter of fact, through the spirit. 1 second. I think I want to start verse 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all praise. So, and this is going into mental health. You know, when you go into thinking about mental health, oftentimes there's people tell you, hey, you need to go meditate. If you only meditate 10 days, I mean, 10 minutes a day to start your day, if you sit there, you kind of cross your legs and close your eyes and well, that's off. That's not meditation according to the scriptures. That's going into damn worshiping another God. That's going into really going into what is it called? Buddhism and Hinduism and Sikhism, and that's going into worshiping other gods, going into those practices of meditation and yoga in that particular manner. But meditation we see in Psalms 1:1, I believe, is meditating on the scriptures, right? And another thing in terms of a weapon or a method that they teach you as far as according to the world, how to hone in on your mental health is they say, what do they call them? Mantras, or what do they call them? Affirmations. That's the word I'm looking for. They say, hey, well, you got to kind of say these affirmations, you know, I am healthy. I am loved. You don't want to get into that. You want to affirm the truth based on the scriptures. So these should be your affirmations, is reading the scriptures and reciting them in your head, meditating on them. Because what you're doing is you're casting down those thoughts of worry, those thoughts of doubt, those thoughts of fear, those things that want to afflict and overcome your mind. You beginning to cast them out, and you're replacing those thoughts through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai with thoughts of righteousness, with thoughts of life, with thoughts of uplifting thoughts through the precepts. And it begins to wage war on your mind, where now your carnal thoughts that seek to overthrow you are being suppressed by the thoughts and the wisdom that's given through the scriptures. So verse 2, but I beseech ye, right, that I may not be bold and present. It was like, I'm gonna skip down to verse 3 to get to the point. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. A lot of us go through strongholds, right? You may be going through addiction. Addiction is really a mental health issue, which on a deeper level is really a spiritual issue, right? Because you're giving yourself over to carnal impulses, right? Through carnal cravings, right? Which means that in your mind, you haven't been able to cast down those wicked imaginations that have you carnally craving cigarettes, a weed, a sex, right? All these type of different carnal cravings that enable you to go off. All right. So you want to be able to realize where your strength comes from. And we know our strength and our power comes from the Most High God. And we know that He's given us His word as a way for us to battle these various thoughts. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, Salakia, but mighty through God, Yahweh, to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations, and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of a Mashiach Yahushua. So when you think about bringing something into captivity, right now, if you're battling mental health, you're battling against your carnal thoughts and worries and desires of this world, trying to bring you into captivity. All right. Trying to box you in to fears, to restlessness, to anxiety. Matter of fact, let's look up real quick. Let's look up the definition of anxiety. Let's look up the definition of anxiety. It says anxiety is a common emotion. So look, anxiety is an emotion characterized by feeling of unease, Salakia, worry, fear, and apprehension. All right. Unease, what does unease go into? That means you're unsettled. You damn frantic. You stressed out. You're in a frantic frame of mind where you have no peace. If you're on the opposite of being of peace is to be uneasy. Worry. Hey, what does worry go into? Worry goes into your matter of fact, let's get it right quick. Let's get this real quick. Let's get this real quick. I think I could just click and bam, right here. Worry. Give way to anxiety or unease to allows one's mind to dwell on difficulties or trouble. And you got to think about if you're allowing your mind to dwell on difficulties and troubles, that literally means is that you're allowing your mind to just think of the worst. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to get fired from my job. It's the Sabbath. I just started this new job. Oh my gosh, I can't call off. They're going to fire me. You didn't give your mind over to worry. And now you're not trusting in what the Most High God can do for you. You're trusting in the outcome or the power that the perceived power that so-called man has. And most of the time, let's be obvious. Let's be honest. Most of the times, I want to say damn near 90% of the times of the things in which we worry about, they don't even come to pass, y'all. You're giving your mind and your thoughts, and it really kind of, on a spiritual level, it could go into idolatry. Because you're worshiping and you're worrying and you're giving your power over to something other than the Most High. Because we read in 2 Timothy 1:7, the Most High don't give you that spirit of fear of these carnal things, right? And fear or apprehension. It can be a normal response to stressful situations. But when it becomes excessive or persistent, it can interfere with daily life and indicate, an anxiety disorder. And a lot of these things, these modern medical diagnosis, right, really just go back to spirits, having a spirit on you. Worry is a spirit, right? They say it's an emotion. They say anxiety is an emotion, but it's really a spirit, y'all. It's these different spirits that you allow to hop on you, and different spirits that, ultimately, the spiritual demon, Satan, is trying to afflict you with to get you off balance, to get you from depending on the Most High, to get you from being in a sound mind where you can reason through the precepts and that you can walk by faith, and to get you to going off, get you to doubt. And when you doubt, you're weak. You're being weakened. You're not relying on your power. So, when you go back into this worry, and there's something else I want to get into. This apprehension is very important. Watch this, y'all. Let's look this up really quick. Apprehension, anxiety or fear that something bad or unpleasant will happen. You got to think about that. Fear that something bad or unpleasant will happen. That doesn't mean that it's even going to happen, y'all. So by having that apprehension, what you're doing is that you're not relying on the comfort of the Most High God. You're not being faithful. You're not being built up in faith. You're being built up in worry. And that's a stark difference. That's a stark contrast, you know? So you don't want to give your mind over to heaviness and fear. So when it says, in every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, we just went through some things that exalt itself against that apprehension, that fear, that worry, that anxiety. And ultimately, these things can lead to what they will call depression, where your continence is low. And now that depression begins to afflict and manifest, for a lack of a better word, inside of your body. You know, a depression can lead to high blood pressure, which can lead to a heart attack. A depression can lead to suicide, right? Where you have this spirit of death that afflicts you, and now you go and you damn unalive yourself. You know, so you want to be able to recognize these things. And if any of our brothers or sisters are going through these things, you want to get help. You know, you don't want to be dealing with these things alone and by yourself. You know, you want to go and not only examine yourself, but you want to call out to your other brothers and sisters who are in the truth, right? That you can be restored, that they can fast with you, that they can pray with you, right? What is that? I think that's Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter. I think that's what I want, right? My spelling be off, y'all. Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter. Bam, yep. Because you don't want to be going through these things alone. Because when you're battling things alone, it's harder sometimes to overcome them. And we even see this wisdom that our beloved brother, the mighty, that one of the most wise men to ever walk the earth, besides Hamashiach, one like Yahushua, is King Solomon. It says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. Coming out just starting off, 2 is better than 1. You don't want to be alone going through depression. You don't want to be alone fighting anxiety. You know, you should be reaching out to brothers and sisters. And if you know that you have a brother or sister who you've seen by having discernment going through these things, don't wait for them to reach out to you. Hey, reach out to them and attack these spirits together. Keep each other uplifted. Bear one another's burdens. Depression is a heavy spirit. Anxiety is a heavy spirit. These are heavy things that afflict one another, right? I mean that we go through that afflict. You know, I don't mean afflict one another, but you guys get what I'm saying, Lord willing. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. So if you going through these spirits are of afflicting you of depression, of worry, of anxiety, of fear, you don't want to be going through these things alone, right? You don't want to be going through these things alone. Because when you go through these things alone, you might get that woe is me spirit. And you don't want to be in the spirit, Lord willing, of either of, well, it's only me who's going through this. You know, I don't want to tell anyone. You know, the people will laugh at me. And there's nothing that you're going through that's not common to man. Paraphrasing the precept. What you're going through, there's another Israelite who's going through it, who's been through it, or who's going to go through it. And the Most High utilizes what you're going through or what you've gone through as a way not only to build you up, but also as a way to build your faith, and also as a way to give you a way that you can minister into other Israelites to help build them up, to help them overcome. And that's the importance of a body. That is definitely the importance of the body. to be able to be built up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We're going to get Sirach chapter 30. I think I want verse 21. Yeah, boom. And you know what? Yeah, okay, bam. So when you go into like depression or mental health or anxiety or apprehension, all of these things are of the mind. These are different ways that you are mentally afflicted. And a lot of times, like when we just went into that apprehension, you're dwelling on things. You're dwelling on things that 9 times out of 10, probably brother, probably sister, aren't even going to happen. The Most High is faithful and is just, right? And the Most High is comforting. The Most High gives us the spirit of comfort. Literally, the Holy Spirit is called the Comforter, right? And so when you're giving your mind over to heaviness and worry, that's not of the Holy Spirit. I repeat, when you're giving your mind over to heaviness and worry, that's not of the Holy Spirit. And I'm not saying that you're not gonna worry about things sometimes, but you got to even watch that. Like when you're worrying about something, you have to pray, you got to fast, and you got to really examine yourself. Hey, why am I worrying about this? Hey, have I been going off? So am I looking for the penalty of going off? Is that why I'm worrying? Like, what is the root of my worry? You follow what I'm saying? But here, Ecclesiastes 30 and 21 says, give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel. So when you think about afflicting yourself, you are literally harming yourself. Because affliction goes into harming, and it can even go into chastisement. So your own counsel, remember, we read in the book of Jeremiah that the mind is deceitfully wicked. Who can know it? So don't have your own thoughts beating yourself up, right? And I'm going to read on. It says, the gladness of the heart the gladness of the heart is the life of man. And we know the heart is the mind. And the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. So you want to try to stay in a joyful state of being. Now we know, sometimes there are things that happen that may bring sorrow. You may have lost a loved one and things of that nature. And even with that, may the Most High God have mercy on their soul, right? And for any of our fallen brothers and sisters who have given up the spirit and went back to the bosom of the Most High. But even in that, by reflecting on the precepts, we understand through the counsel of the scriptures on how to properly mourn, on how to grieve, on what happens when one of our loved ones so-called dies, right, and gives up the ghost. We understand that all spirits return to the Most High, and the body goes back to the dust in which it was created from. So even in that, reasoning and going through the precepts enables us, Lord willing, to not give our mind over to heaviness, to not be afflicting ourselves, and to be in that lowest state, right, where you just are down and you give up. Because depression can lead to death. Depression can lead to, all types of medical conditions. Like I mentioned, blood pressure. You're depressed, you're worried, you're stressing yourself out. Now your blood pressure is through the roof. Now you going to the doctor. Now you got heart flutterings. Now you're having shortness of breath. And you Lord forbid, end up having a stroke or a heart attack. Right? It says, the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. Love thy own soul and comfort thy heart, which is comfort your mind. Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. So, sorrow has killed many. And that's another thing that goes into mental health. You being sorrowful, you being sad, you know? And it's unfortunate that we go through so many things in this captivity that can bring about mental health issues. You know, you might not have the resources that you need to support your family, or you may be in a condition of living that isn't conducive or isn't healthy, whether it's your environment, you know, your living conditions, the relationships that you might be in, you know, all there's so many different type of things that we go through, you know, and for my brothers and sisters who are hearing this, who aren't in the truth, and what I mean who aren't in the truth, who don't know that they're an Israelite, right, who doesn't know that the Most High God, you know, gave the children of Israel promises and covenants, right? And blessings. When you read, you know, we often read the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 15. But what about the blessing? Let me get that right quick. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Like all of the blessings, if you don't know about this, and it shall come to pass, Deuteronomy 28 and 1, that if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Just thinking about and reflecting on this is something that could easily change your mental health status. When you reflect on all the richness of the glory and the blessings and the promises that the Most High God has given and has preordained is the word I'm looking for the children of Israel, right? Let's get that real quick to Isaiah 55. How these things are going to come to pass. So whatever you're going through, although outwardly we're wasting away, as our beloved brother Paul said, paraphrasing, but internally we being renewed through the Spirit day by day, moment by moment. Blessed shall thou be in the city, and blessed shall thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall be thou when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. There's a multitude of promises and blessings that the Most High God has given us. Let me get this Isaiah, I think that's 55. Is that 13? No, that's not 13. It's 55 and 11. It's 55 and 11. It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I sent it. So even when you get into, you know, the promises and the blessings that the Most High God gave us as the children of Israel, you got to know that these things are true. They're not going to come back void. They're going to happen. So when as we going through our day-to-day situations that may have us fighting off and battling thoughts of worry, depression, anxiety, apprehension, fears, we got to really realize that, well, hold on, the Most High didn't give me a spirit of fear. That's not of the Most High. Let me cast that down those wicked imaginations. Let me have the discipline through the Spirit. Okay, you know what? Let me call my brother or sister. Let me pray. Let me fast. Hold on. Let me get in these precepts. Now, you know what? I don't need no damn affirmations. Let me just continue to read. Let me read. Let me read. Let me read. Let me reflect. Let me reflect. Right? Let me keep these precepts stored up on my mind, because I know that these precepts are true, that these are the words of life, the words of wisdom. And let me get that First Ezra 3 and 17. Because it ultimately goes down to, and I like this precept as well. First Ezra 3 and 17 says, and he said unto them, declare unto us your mind concerning the writings. You got to be in the mind frame to be able to declare that you know that these writings and these scriptures, that you know that these promises, that they're true, and that you hold them at a high value, at a high esteem, that you esteem them to be profitable unto you as an Israelite, as a child of the Most High God, you know? Because a lot of the times we may deal with mental health we may deal with these various afflictions in our mind, but it really goes hand in hand with the lack of faith. Is your faith lacking? And this is what you got to ask yourself. And you got to be honest with yourself too. Am I worrying because I don't have faith that the Most High God will give me give me blessings? Right? I think that's Jeremiah. Is that Jeremiah 1:5? That's not Jeremiah. That says 1:15. I think I want Jeremiah 1:5. I believe that's what I'm looking for. Bam. Let me get this. Yep. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So the Most High God has already had your story written before you ever came here. So where's your faith? Right? And where's that the precept, I believe, where it says to give thee an expected end. Let me get this real quick. Jeremiah 29:11. That's what I'm really looking for. 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, and to give you an expected end. Hey, that's comforting. Where's your faith at to let your mind be afflicted with worry and to not let your mind be comforted by precepts like this? He said thoughts of peace. He didn't say thoughts of distress, thoughts of worry. Now, this also too hand in hand. If you not keeping the commandments to the best of your ability, if you don't got faith in the Mashiach woman like Yahushua, you're going to continue to be afflicted. You're going to continue to get worried. You're going to have a spirit of worry if you moving out here in wickedness. So that also goes hand in hand. You got to examine yourself. Why do you have those the spirit of worry, the spirit of fear? Where's your faith? Is your faith built up? How do you build your faith up? You build your faith up by chiefly reading, because the more accounts that you read and that you see, man, what is that precept? Escapes my mind. I know it's in the book of Psalms. Let me get this real quick. He said, "This I'm old and young, and yet seeing the righteous seed begging for bread." Psalms 37:25. That's what I'm looking for. It says, "I have been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread." Where is your faith in precepts like this? That the Most High God is not going to leave you or forsake you. When you keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, you being built up through the Spirit, you having faith in the Mashiach woman like Yahushua, why are you letting worries overthrow your judgment? Why aren't you dwelling and meditating on these scriptures? Being built up and having that spirit of peace. These are the things that we should be doing, y'all. Right? Even if you because a lot of us go through different worries and stresses, maybe because of health reasons. Maybe you're in a condition where your body is being physically afflicted. You got surgery you got to go through. You got medical procedures you got to go through. And some people is worried. I know my mom. My mom's not in this truth yet, right? Lord willing, she gets into this truth. But I know even my mom worries a lot about medical bills. We're literally like you're worrying about medical bills and your inability to pay these medical bills, right? And now you're letting that stress you out, and now that's giving you bad health, right? Because your blood pressure is up, Now you back to the doctor, making more damn medical bills. You know, the Most High God, man, we gotta, as a people, we gotta get better with our faith, y'all. You gotta think we don't serve, Lord willing, you're not out here serving Buddha, a damn statue. And we ain't into Krishna. We ain't into Islam. We don't worship no rock. We ain't into white Jesus. And we serve Yahweh. You know, the Most High God kills and maketh alive. We see that in the law. He heals, he kills, he maketh alive. So why are you stressing over medical issues? Why are you putting your faith in the physician? Matter of fact, let's get that in Sirach 38. Because a lot of mental health issues too go back and tie hand in hand with physical afflictions in your body. Well, you may literally be physically going through a medical condition and you're concerned and you're worried. Well, you know what? Man, what's going to happen to me? I got to go before the doctor. I got to get this surgery, and I'm just so scared. I hope I don't die. I hope I don't. Man, I hope I'm stressed out. I hope it goes well. Oh my God, it's going to be more medical. Like you frantic. You all over the damn place, brother. And you all over the damn place, sister. You're rooted in worry. You're being afflicted in your own counsel. We got to do better, family. We got to do better. We got to do better, y'all. As a people, we got to do better on putting our trust in our Creator. As a people, we got to do better on checking on one another. Just think about that. Is somebody who you know right now, who you know strongly led to believe is going through a mental health issue? Have you checked on that brother? Have you checked on that sister? When is the last time you called a brother or sister and said, hey, Aquath, how you doing? When is the last time you called him and just, hey, look, let me give you this precept. You've been on my spirit. Hey, when is the last time you done a wellness check? It shouldn't be a thing. And I fall I fall short with this all the time. If not just reaching out to a brother or sister and just do a wellness check. Hey, how you doing? I know we see each other at camps. You may see each other at feast days. You may see each other in the business environment, or you may work together, or whatever it may be. But how many times have you consciously, intentionally, and purposely had that desire to call your fellow Israelite and to just check on them? And brothers and sisters, when your brothers and sisters call to check on you, Lord willing, don't be a damn liar. Don't be in that spirit of, oh, I don't want nobody to know my business, or because a lot of times as a people, we be so emotionally callous. We want to be so damn hard. Oh no, everything's not all right. And now the Most High is, you prayed for comfort, you prayed for relief, right? You're praying, and then the Most High puts it on one of your brothers or sisters to reach out to you to help give you some counsel, Lord willing, through the Spirit on the right-hand side, to help ease your thoughts through conversations, through the precepts, right? Through counsel. But you got an emotional wall of lies and deceit up, saying everything is good. And then as soon as they get off the phone with you, when you say, "Oh no, I'm good," you putting on the front, you back in a low state of being. We got to be honest with each other, y'all. Right? And it's cutting me. Because like I said, I know some brothers and sisters who deal with things, in mental health, y'all. Dealing with mental health, that doesn't make you a bad person, y'all. We got us a lot of times as people, and that's another thing to get overthrown in your thoughts. You think, well, you know what? I've been going through this too long. I don't want to put my stresses on somebody else. We just read in the Ecclesiastes, the 4th chapter, woe to him, he who when he falleth alone, paraphrasing. The precepts literally tell us to bear one another's burdens. So who are you to tell? So when you're doing that, you're really going against the precepts. You're saying, you know what? The precepts tell us to bear one another's burdens, but I don't want nobody to bear my burden. Where they do that at? Except for in Israel. Hey, husbands, you should be checking on the mental health of your wives or your wife if you have one wife, right? Your children, your brothers and sisters. Hey, even if there is your family member or loved one who's not in this truth, that doesn't mean that you don't check on them. They're still an Israelite. Sometimes it's those little things that we do to one another or for one another that could give somebody the spirit, that the Most High Salaki can put the spirit on somebody to even want to inquire more about the truth. Of seeing how loving and caring you as an Israelite in this truth are to your fellow Israelite, whether they're in this truth or not. Just think about that, y'all. And when it goes into the physicians, you cannot put your trust into these physicians, y'all. You know, whether it's your, you know, because right now too in America especially, there's a let's see something really quick. How many mental health conditions are currently recognized? Look at this. There are more than 200 recognized mental health conditions. The American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSMs, and the World Health Organization's International Classification of Disease, ICD, are the main systems that classify mental health conditions. You got to understand, y'all, family, we gotta really realize, never trust thine enemy. A lot of these mental health conditions that they classify are just spiritual things that they put in a frame because they want to make money off of you. They want to sell you pharmaceutical drugs to alter your mind. They want to keep you doped up to alter your mind. When your true medicine is the precepts. It's a spiritual thing. Even when you go into these mental health drugs that they prescribing you, these are mind-altering drugs. But in order to be renewed in the spirit of your mind and transformed, the precepts don't say take drugs. Look, anxiety disorders, excessive fear and worry. There's a precept for that. Depression, a depressed mood, loss of interest in activity, and other symptoms. There's precepts for that. Bipolar disorder, Salaki. Alternating depressive episodes with manic symptoms. There's precepts for that. Schizophrenia, significant impairment in perception and changes in behavior. There's precepts for that. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, a condition that can impact day-to-day living. And there's precepts for this, y'all. These aren't mental conditions. These are spiritual conditions with perceptual deficiencies. Perceptual deficiencies. That means you have a deficiency in the precepts that have been stored up in your mind. And you lacking, Aquaf. You lacking. You're deficient in precepts because that's your medicine. Those precepts should be stored up in your mind. So when you have anxiety, you can cast that down. When you have depression, you can be uplifted. When you have bipolar disorder, That's an unbalance. The precepts tell you, hey, don't be unbalanced. Right? A false balance is an abomination. Why is that bipolar unbalanced? Because you're leaning this way too much. You need that balance. How you gonna get that balance, that comfort through the precepts? Don't let damn Esau in his pharmakeia, his witchcraft medicine, become your God. Well, now you damn thing. You know what? I need let me see this really quick. What are the top mental health prescription drugs? Look at this. And these damn drugs, can't even pronounce what the hell these things are saying. Fluoxetine, Prozac. Okay, I see how they got the counter name or the brand name right here. Celexa, Lexapro, Paxil, Zoloft, Trazodone, sometimes prescribed for sleep disorder, used to treat anxiety and depression. Man, don't let Esau's witchcraft and all these damn concoctions and potions that they're making you become your God. You're now more dependent on Esau's drugs, right, than the Most High God. And I'm not going to be simple, y'all. Some people there are some people who are seriously afflicted with serious so-called mental disorders, and they take some type of medication. But the Most High can bring you off of that too. The Most High can cast out those demons that are afflicting your mind. Man, as I read these drugs, and these are all rooted, though, in people putting trust in the physician, and they say, you know what? My doctor says that I need this Prozac in order to overcome my depression. Well, my doctor said I got to do this. Well, when did your doctor give you a precept? They're giving you a prescription. Well, why don't they give you a prescription? Give you a precept. Because for every drug that there's a 1,000 precepts, I'm led to believe, to counteract that drug that can actually heal you. See, the Most High is in the business of healing through his word. Drugs are in the business of masking or suppressing what's going on. Think about that. The Most High is in the business of healing, of restoration, right? Of reconciliation, of reconciling you back to the peace and to the comfort of his word, of his promises, the richness of your heritage, of freeing you from those mental chains of depression, of anxiety. Pharmaceutical drugs ain't into that, y'all. And when you get into it too, let's take one of these drugs. What's the annual revenue from Prozac? Let's just take one of them. Prozac. Look, y'all. Prozac's annual revenue varied over time, but in 2000, it was around $2.58 billion. Prozac is 24% of Eli Lilly's total revenue. It says Eli Lilly's revenue in 2000, Salakia, was $10.9 billion. Prozac, Zoloft. Let's see Zoloft. We saw that on the list as well. Zoloft, before Zoloft's patent expired hold on. Y'all, they putting patents on these drugs. It's a business for them. It's not for your health. Mental health in the medical and psychological field is not for your health and well-being, y'all. It's a business. We're not in the business of keeping our people dependent on Esau's magical science witchcraft. You got to get off these drugs and get into the precepts. Let's get that Sirach 38. Salakia, y'all. Let's get that Sirach 38. And I'm going to wrap it up. We got camp. Sirach. And I'm going to actually get this in the GNT. Sirach 38 and 1 from the top. It says, give doctors. Now that's mental health doctors. That's mental health, what do they call them? Therapist. Whatever the professional term is for mental health. Whatever mental health therapists, representatives, caseworkers, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, all of the whole spectrum of mental health. You can't put your trust in that, right? You can't put your trust in that. Okay. Let's see. Going back to it, we got Sirach 38 and 1. Give doctors the honor they deserve, for the Lord gave them their work to do. Their skill came from the Most High, and kings reward them for it. So even if you are, seeing a mental health psychologist or all that, then you got to be praying to the Most High, because the Most High is the one who even gave them the skill to be able to counsel you on certain things. But your ultimate counsel and your ultimate goal, right, should be to get out of their counsel and to get fully in the counsel and the comfort of the scriptures of the precepts. Because I notice a lot of our people are dealing with mental health situations, even PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder disease, even that whole situation. You want to be able to get off of the counsel and transition back to the counsel and the comfort of the scriptures. Because we know some of our people go through things, y'all. We're not going to be simple. We understand that, y'all. Right? We understand everybody's situation is different as far as the level of mental health trauma that they may have gone through. Some people have gone through traumatic things and traumatic experiences in their life that keep playing over and over in their mind, that breeds certain fears and anxieties of situations. And some people literally may smell a certain smell and it brings their mind back to a memory of something traumatic that happened. And now they're being apprehensive, So all of these different things, you gotta weigh them in a balance, and you gotta really take them into consideration and examine. It says their knowledge gives them a position of importance, and powerful people hold them in high regard. The Lord created medicines from the earth, and a sensible person will not hesitate to use them. Now, when this goes into this medicine, this is really going more of like the apothecary. I'm taking these natural herbs and remedies and things of that nature and combining them. It's not really going into Esau's witchcraft medicine, where they're mind altering you and have you in a state of a trance. That's the word I'm looking for. A trance. Because most of these mental health medicines are to put you out of your right mind, to take you out of your right mind and to push you in a medical induced trance where you're not even there. You're in a different spirit. It's spirits on you. Because even when you go into the word pharmacy, the root word is pharmakeia. I believe that's how you pronounce it, which goes into witchcraft. Potions and what's the word I'm looking for? Sorcery. Right? Reading on. Didn't a tree once make bitter water fit to drink? So that the Lord's power might be known. He gave medical knowledge to human beings so that we would praise him for the miracles he performs. And this is key, y'all. The Most High God gave medical knowledge to human beings. So that doctor who has that medical knowledge, don't praise that doctor. You got to be praising and putting your faith in the Most High God. He gave medical knowledge to human beings so that we would praise him for the miracles he performs. The druggist mixes these medicines. The druggist, Salakia, mixes these medicines, and the doctor will use them to cure diseases and ease pain. There is no end to the activities of the Lord, who gives health to the people of the world. Now we know this is going into, even if you're healed by anything, it's because the Most High God enabled that healing to come by way of the medical practitioner, and things of that nature. But you notice you don't put your faith in them. You put your faith in the Most High God, right? And sometimes, too, we got to realize if you're going through continual medical situations and afflictions, and it could be you're living a life of sin. I'm just going to say it plain upon tables, y'all. You got to examine yourself as well. Are you keep going the hell off? That could be a reason why you being afflicted, right? Are you lacking faith? Could be a reason why you keep being afflicted, because you're putting your trust in all things except for the Most High God, right? Confess all your sins. I'm going to go to verse 9. My child, when you get sick, don't ignore it. Pray to the Lord and he will make you well. That's key to hone in on. Pray to the Most High God, because all healing comes from the Most High, whether that's mental health, physical health, right? Confess all your sins and determine that in the future you will live a righteous life, right? Offer incense and a grain offering as fine as you can afford. So it's telling you that there's a process as well in examining yourself and humbling yourself before the Most High God and calling on the Most High God and asking him, hey, to forgive me for my iniquity that may have brought on this judgment of sickness or this affliction in my mind, right? Hey, calling out to the Most High, humbling yourself, asking him and begging him for his mercy and his healing. Hey, offering the Most High God the highest amount of praise that you can, right? It says, then call the doctor, for the Lord Yahweh created him, and keep him at your side. You need him. There are times when you have to depend on his skill. The doctor's prayer is that the Lord Yahweh will make him able to ease his patient's pains and make them well again. So this is even showing you that the doctor should be praying for the wisdom. That mental health physician who you went to, or that mental health practitioner, and they should be, their therapies and healings and practices should be rooted in the precepts. And we need more mental health professionals in this truth, right? Where you go to a mental health professional and they tell you, look, take some Zoloft, take this. We need mental health professionals in this truth to say, you know what? Let me counsel you by way of the scriptures. Let me counsel you by the way of the precepts. Because that's what the precepts are saying. They should be rooted in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? So with that, got to get ready for camp, family. Lord willing, this has been edifying. And, if you're going through something, and we're praying for you, we're praying for all of the nation of Yasha Allah as a whole, right? Especially those of the household of faith. And hey, I'm going to challenge y'all, brothers and sisters. Don't put it off. Don't put it off today until tomorrow. Today, do a wellness check on 3 people, on 3 Israelites. Do a wellness check. whether it's in person, whether you pick up the phone and call, whether you send an email, whether you send a text message, whether you send a voice note, you do a FaceTime, you hit them in a DM, whatever, man, do a wellness check on 3 Israelites today, y'all. Because we got to love and we got to care for each other. So with that, we're going to give all glory, praises, and honor to the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashak, woman like Yahushai, Shalom family, Shalom family, Shalom family, Kwam Yashala.